मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखावितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Okay, so recording has started or?
Started,
Hare Krishna.
started.
Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
First we'll recite sloka. कार्पण्यदोषोपहता स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेता। यश्रेयः स्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं साधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम्। देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति। न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः। अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे। भोगैश्वर्यप्रसक्तानां तया पृथचेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते। प्रकृतेः क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहम् इति मन्यते। एवं परम्परा प्राप्तम् इमं राजर्षयो विदुः सकालनेह महता योगो नष्टः परन्तप। परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्मसंस्थापनार्थाय सम्भवामि युगे युगे। जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम् एवं यो वेत्ति तत्त्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहं पुनर्जन्म नयति मामेति अर्जुन। तद्विद्धि प्रणिपातेन परिप्रश्नेन सेवया उपदेक्षयन्ति ते ज्ञानं ज्ञानिनस्तत्त्वदर्शिना। ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयोनय एव ते आद्य अन्तवन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुध। भोक्तारां यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति। योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेनान्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजते यो मां समे युक्ततमो मतः। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone for today's class. So we were doing which verse or some points which you remember from last class? Yes. Anyone likes to share something? Hare Krishna. So okay, we are discussing this section of Ishta Pragya 54 to 72, the qualities of a liberated soul, Jivan Mukta. So this was a question asked by Arjuna. Arjuna vacha Ishta Pragyasya ka bhasa samadhi sthasya keshava Sthita dhir kim pravaseta kim asita vrajetkam. So 4 questions were asked, that what are the general symptoms, ka bhasa, then kim prabhaseta. So ka bhasa means general symptom of Ishta Pragya. How do you recognize somebody as a Ishta Pragya? Kim prabhaset means how does he speak. So how does he speak means internally and externally. When somebody praises him or somebody insults him, how does he speak externally and internally. And then kim asit, how does he restrain his senses, how does he sit down. Asit means baitna, restrain his senses when sense object comes. And vrajet kim means how does he engage his senses when he goes in the world. Vrajet means walking, so when he walks, how does he engage his senses, what is his duty in the world, how does he live his life, like that. So this is answered, kim ka bhasa is answered 2.55. Next sloka only Krishna answered that. So Krishna says that prajahati yada kaman. So basically the Sthita Pragya is a liberated soul, Jivan Mukta. Even though he is living in this body, he has not attained the liberation till now. Means he has not gone to the spiritual sky. He is still living in the body. That's why we are discussing about him, correct? If he has gone away, then what can we discuss? So while he is living in this world and he is still Jivan Mukta, he is free from all mental speculation, all the desires to satisfy senses, to enjoy material things. He is free from all those things. So prajahati yada kaman. So what is the first symptom? The symptom of any great soul, or especially Sthita Pragya, is that manogatan, whatever material desire, whatever desires which are produced in the mind for sense enjoyment, he is indifferent to those desires. Desires may come, but he is indifferent. He is not ready to fulfill those desires. Then where his attention is, atmanne vatmanah tushtaha. So he is rejoicing, he is enjoying the bliss of soul, and so his intelligence is fixed there in enjoyment of the soul or focusing on the Atma. So this is the thing. So this is a symptom of a great soul, that he is not concerned about mental concoction, and his intelligence is completely fixed in transcendence, actually completely, because he is enjoying there. So we discussed that how he separates the soul from mind, and then he can see that mind is a culprit, or mind has a bad tendencies. So see, mind is material and soul is spiritual. So mind can anytime be contaminated, yes, because it's a material, it always likes material thing. But when mind is engaged in transcendental service of the Lord, then mind gets higher happiness, and because of that higher happiness, mind gives away this rasavarjam. He gives away all the taste for material happiness or material sense objects, because he is getting higher happiness. But when the higher happiness is absent, that time problem comes. Then the person, again the mind goes to material sense object. So when Atma loses the Krishna consciousness, means the grace of the Lord, when he disobeys Lord, then what happens? He does not get happiness, because he is disobeying Lord, and Krishna conscious means you have to please Lord, you have to obey him, you have to work for him. So when Atma decides that I will not work for him. So that time he loses the grace of the Lord. So then intelligence does not become satisfied in Krishna consciousness, and then intelligence has to look happiness somewhere else, and therefore this material identity has been given. So then mind becomes, then soul comes to material world, and all those things happen. These bodies are taken. So basically the mind is like a translator. A soul cannot understand this world, because soul is a foreign entity. And like somebody goes to Germany or China, can you understand the language there? No. Yes, so what you do nowadays, people have mobile and then Google translator. Okay, some Chinese speaks, no? So then they say, okay, bolo bolo, and the China go English mein kar lenge, chalo, okay. Then they understand, okay, you are speaking this thing, okay, now I will speak, and then you will say China, okay, read now. So this is a translator, because you cannot understand Chinese language. In the same way, the soul cannot understand the material world. It requires a translator who can make material world perceivable. It requires senses which can grossly enjoy those sense objects. And it requires mind which can subtly assume sense enjoyment, perceive sense enjoyment, and expect sense enjoyment, like that. And intelligence also required to discriminate where I can get my enjoyment, where I cannot get enjoyment. So everything is engaged in material occupation. So therefore mind is translator. So for the soul, that this is good for you, you enjoy this thing. But problem with this, what? Mind will never tell that you are a soul and you should not look for this enjoyment. Mind is never going to tell, because mind is only translator, and intelligence will also not tell. So only Guru comes from spiritual world, or Lord empowers some great soul, so through the message of Bhagavad Gita or transcendental message. Then when they say to us, you are not this body or soul, then we are totally alarmed. Means new message, we have never heard such message. So that time the Jivatma, he becomes at least conscious that time, I have to, what is this new science? I am not this body, what I am doing till now. And then he starts filling up his intelligence with transcendental knowledge. And then comes the problem, because now mind, who was earlier only having one master like Maya, mind was only for Maya, mind becomes now confused. I have to hear intelligence which is saying that transcendental world exists, and I am not this body, I am a soul, and I have to also fulfill my desire for sense enjoyment. So like that. Because why sometimes mind becomes personality? Because soul has not detached itself from mind, so therefore many times mind appears to be self only. Till that time it will be self. So mind, when we say that mind wants to enjoy sense enjoyment, because soul has become very much attached to the mind, so therefore mind desire and soul desire becomes equal. So therefore it's like किसी को भूत पकड़ लेता है ना. If somebody is haunted by ghost ना, you cannot discriminate which person he is, whether he was a previous person or now new person, because ghost has haunted him. Now the external person who has seen him earlier, he was a sane person, अच्छे से behave करता था, अभी भूत पकड़ लिया इसको, उसको पता लगेगा कि हाँ इसको अभी भूत पकड़ा है. In a similar way, spiritual master Krishna, they know that we are the soul, we are enjoying with him. Now some bhoot has caught us. So then they will tell, what has happened to you? You have become mad now. So then they can guide us. They can help us getting rid of this bhoot, Maya bhoot. So, Prajahati yada kama. So this is which one? 55. So 55 means, again, it's a symptom. Dukhveshwana Dugnamana Sukhesh Vigat Spraha. Beat-raga bhaya krodh. Now this is what? This is how does he speak? Externally and internally. So we discussed this also. He is very grateful to the Lord. So Prabhupada says that Muni means who always speculates. That is Muni. But we don't want only speculators. We want Isita Dhir Muni, who may speculate, but on a spiritual subject matter based upon Guru Sadhu Shastra in Guru Parampara. So we have scope for philosophical speculation, but not mental speculation. So we can do speculation surely to preach Krishna consciousness, present Krishna conscious philosophy in a more attractive way to the people. But we cannot divert from the tattva in the name of preaching. So Isthita Dhir Muni is always Krishna conscious. So how does he pray? He prays to the Lord. Whenever some difficulty comes, he prays, my Lord, this is my karma only, and you have reduced the reaction of karma so that I can keep practicing bhakti. And I understand also that I should have done something wrong, so I should not do that wrong now. I should obey to you. And when some happiness comes, he again thinks that I am not worthy of such happiness. It is only by the grace of the Lord. So I am in comfortable situation. Now let me serve the Lord. So Narayan para sarve na kutaschana vibyate swarga purga narkeshu apitulyat darshanam. Either somebody, Narayan Parayan, the fully surrendered soul to the lotus feet of Narayan, he does not worry going to heaven or hell, because his only business is to execute Krishna consciousness, like that. So therefore, devotee, he is always grateful to the Lord, because gratefulness comes when we see the mercy of the Lord in our life. Devotional service is mercy, actually. Krishna has given us prasadam, Krishna has given us deity, Krishna has given us devotees, Krishna has given us scriptures. This is mercy. So when devotee sees that I am so much been helped by Krishna for my liberation from this world, by my spiritual master, by devotees, and by so many merciful forms of devotional service, so therefore he becomes grateful always, because he is always engaged in devotional service. He is grateful to the Lord and devotees, and this gratefulness helps the devotee to receive more mercy, because without mercy he cannot get taste. He needs mercy to get the taste, as we discussed sometime before here. That grace that is giving the taste, and he is grateful always. And you know that anybody who is grateful or humble, who will leave such servant actually? That servant will not be left. Now 1 minute.
So you're on mute, Guruji.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, I am always trouble during my class. Somebody calls here and there. People don't have anything to do. They simply disturb. Okay. So we discussed about rag. Okay, this I already discussed last time. यह सर्वत्र अभिस्नेह. So this is without affection. This is talking about, again, how does he speak? Means praising or insulting. How does he speak? The two slokas, 57, 56 and 57. So this is also another quality of a great soul. He does not praise or despise, because material world is a dreaming world. If you praise some dream job, dream girl, dream boy, if you always praise, then basically we are interested in that. So he is not interested, and he knows that if I criticize then again it's a issue, because it's a dream. You cannot criticize a dream. तो ड्रीम होता है ना, उसको एग्जिस्टेंस नहीं है, तो वो किसी सोने वाले व्यक्ति के लिए उसका मतलब है, जो जगा हुआ व्यक्ति उसके लिए ड्रीम मतलब नहीं है. इट्स a useless thing. So therefore he does not praise or not despise it. So this praising and despising both are attachment actually, either to positive side or negative side. So therefore we say that Sukadeva Goswami says in 12th canto that how this whole material world in Kali Yuga is like ocean of faults. And if you chant the holy name of the Lord, you become detached from all such faults. Detachment this only. You are not neither praise nor despise, because you know that there is nothing to praise. Even despising also too many lists you can despise. But you will not do that, because you know that mind will become contaminated. So many faults, so many faults. So there is always some upheaval in the material world which may be good or evil. So this also we have discussed, samadhi. Okay, so what is the samadhi? The consciousness in Krishna situates one in perfect unhindered position called samadhi. I am revising it. Okay, so those who were there last time, be conscious now, attentive. Then we discussed about kachua, kurma angani sarvasa. Some of us may think, Arey, such a great soul, he also has to become kachua. Yes, howsoever great soul he may be, he has to control his senses, because material world is a danger place. It's a dangerous. If he engages his senses otherwise, then he will also lose his peace of mind, and then ultimately no sita pragya. So therefore, again it is mentioned here, he controls his senses. How? So Prabhupada says that yogi makes a plan to control his senses. So devotees make plan. Okay, I am going to office, I am going to shift to some other place. So how I can control my senses? Whether I will get prasadam there, whether I will get association there. So then controlling business has to be thought. And senses are like serpent. Serpent means you cannot believe. सांप के ऊपर भरोसा, you are sleeping, you cannot, okay, no problem. Serpent is just beneath your bed. You just sleep, नीचे है ना, मैं तो सो रहा हूँ. अरे, you cannot sleep only because it's a serpent. It can anytime bite you. In the similar way, a yogi cannot keep his senses loose. Just thinking that, okay, I have done a lot of sadhana, let my senses be loose now, let me go anywhere. Again, the senses may get attracted. So then it's like a serpent, it has to be controlled, never to be left independent. So therefore Shastra mentions do's and don'ts for practicing sadhaka. Similarly, the senses of Krishna conscious person has to be used for a particular purpose, only for the service of the Lord. So Arjuna has to fight not with anyone or everyone. He has to fight only when the Lord says, okay, you fight now. So you're fighting. When the fight finishes, then he has to again become a nice, humble devotee. Okay, next sloka says that even though you follow the do's and don'ts, never think that you have really controlled your senses until you have got the higher taste. So simply by mechanically controlling senses, you cannot achieve the success. You need to get the higher taste. So that is, so niraharasya is not sufficient. Rasavarjam, giving up the taste has to happen. रसवर्जम नहीं हुआ है तो निराहार का मतलब सफिशिएंट नहीं है. So what is a complementary for nirahar is rasavarjam. रस निकलना चाहिए. रसवर्जम rasa. Have you given up the rasa for sense enjoyment? That is a test. So this person, again it's not a negative statement for Isitadir Muni or Isita Pragya. It's basically Krishna is giving knowledge through, after even while telling about the Isita Pragya, he is also giving us the knowledge. You don't think, Arjuna, that just becoming the Kachua, nicely following the rules, regulations, Char Niyam, Sola Mala, you have really overcome everything, all sense enjoyment. No, they are still there. We still have taste for sense enjoyment. So therefore we have to look for param drishtva. Means we have to look for experience of higher taste. So simply following the rules will not help us to achieve the final destination. We have to experience that higher taste, and that will ensure that yes, now you have controlled everything because you are situated in transcendence. So Prabhupada mentions that how Ashtanga Yoga is for less intelligent people. And one who is transcendently situated, it is possible for him to cease from sense enjoyment. Others cannot do that. So we discussed about the modes also. Unless you are in transcendental plane, you cannot control your senses. So we require higher power to control, higher mercy. By our own endeavor, we can go to the maximum Satuguna. Beyond Satuguna, we cannot go because that is different plane only. This body can only endeavor till Satuguna. Yes, body and mind. But beyond Satuguna is unapproachable to us. That is different platform only. So that will be given access through pure devotee, through Supreme Lord. Then we can jump into that. So bhakti is in transcendental mode actually. It's not in the three gunas. So like that. So when somebody tastes the beauty of Krishna, everything becomes pale in this world. Then yatatoheyapi kaunteya purasasyapi paschita indriyani pramathini haranti parsabhammana. This shloka says that the senses are so strong and impetuous. O Arjuna, they will forcibly carry the mind away, even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. So again, this is again you can say alarming statement. That even though somebody is very vipaschita, very knowledgeable person, who can nicely discriminate between good and bad, spirit and matter, for him also, indriyani pramathini, if senses are enjoying somewhere, then even though he is doing bhakti, his intelligence is fixed, mind is fixed, but his senses has certain sense object attachment, then immediately the mind will go first behind the sense, and then the mind will pull intelligence also. Then everything is finished. So the senses are so impetuous, so strong, because they have the rasa. Rasa is there, rasa for sense enjoyment, and so they can go back to the sense objects once again. So then the example is given here, Vishwamitra Muni, and Prabhupada in general also writes about others. Therefore, it is very difficult to control the mind and senses without being fully Krishna conscious. Without engaging the mind and Krishna, one cannot cease from such material engagement. For us, this is a practice right now to engage our mind and senses in Krishna, because this is spoken from the point of view of sadhaka. So we have to follow the rules and regulations. At the same time, we have to try our best to engage our mind in Krishna. This is there. And then to prove that how much you get the taste after enjoying after engaging your senses in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada quotes acharyas who have perfected Krishna consciousness. So we are told that we are sadhaka, you engage your senses and mind in Krishna consciousness, and what benefit you will get? Then acharyas are quoted who are enjoying Krishna consciousness. So now here, who is enjoying? Yamunacharya. Yad avadi mama cheta Krishna padarabinde navno ras dhamne udyantum rantumasi tad avadi batnari sangame smaryamane bhavati mukha vikara sushtu nishti vanamcha. So Yamunacharya was earlier a Brahmana in his childhood. He was trained by Rama Misra. But later, Yamunacharya had a debate with the Pandya dynasty, Pandya king. Not king, he was a priest. So in the Pandya dynasty, the priest was there. So this priest had a debate, and Yamunacharya defeated him in logic. In logic, he defeated him. He was very proud. That priest was very proud. So then there was some bet between king and queen of that kingdom, and then queen said that actually this Yamunacharya can defeat And then king said, if he can defeat, I will give half of my kingdom. So after that defeat, Yamunacharya got half of the kingdom. And then Yamunacharya became king. So he was basically Brahmana, he became king. And then he was ruling the king, living with all the opulence and kingdom. So he became quite materialistic actually. So then his grandfather, Nath Muni, again he told to Rama Mishra, ki please help my grandson to become devotee of Krishna once again. So then he took him to Ranganath place, or while taking him to that place, he was quoting the slokas of Bhagavad Gita, or basically reciting. So by the recitation of slokas of Bhagavad Gita, Yamunacharya got his old memories back that he was a devotee. So then Prabhupada mentions, because Yamunacharya was the king in his middle part of life, so he used to associate a lot of with women, because king means politics and sense enjoyment. So then Yamunacharya had that experience. So when he became devotee, advanced devotee, still those vasanas used to come. So even though he is a pure devotee, we can see that the thoughts are crossing his mind. Why? Because again I said that mind is always a material, it's never spiritual. You are living with a material mind, material body. That's why we are discussing so much about controlling, because you are living with that foreign element. It can anytime distrust you, or it can cause any problem for you. So the foreign element is there. If you live with a spirit, no problem only. Like oil and water never touch each other. They are always separate, correct? So spirit is always a spirit, but you are not in a spiritual world. So you have to be fearful of material things. Anytime it can again overpower the person. So here Yamunacharya, because he is engaged in Krishna consciousness, so whenever that thought comes of Nari Sangama, immediately he feels distaste and he spits it away. Thuk dete hain. It means he is experiencing param drishtva. He is experiencing higher taste. So it's like that. So just imagine for this person, for Yamunacharya, if he is not experiencing higher taste, then what will happen? Whenever such thought may come, then he has to control his senses like that. His mind, he has to hold it, because he is not getting a higher experience. Yes? Or more worst it can be, then he will engage in such a wrong activity. So therefore it is important that human beings should get right training of culture, education from birth. Now people are just losing this, thinking that no problem. This is so dangerous, because matter is such that matter is a dead, and if we see dead things cannot be improved much. So therefore the whole training should begin from birth. So if somebody does something wrong in beginning of his life, it will become very difficult actually to remove those sanskaras. It's not very easy unless one gets the higher taste, or even a higher taste also somebody is getting. Such things are coming in the mind. It means what? It's the waves, the Maya will never leave that person. Again, keep on attacking. So one has to relish Krishna consciousness. At the same time, we should train the young generation with the right culture, so that they don't fall prey to the wrong habits in the beginning. That is why. So this is important. So therefore, Krishna consciousness means what? One has to relish param drishtva. So when Prabhupada makes some hippies into great devotees, now again they are also expected that you should experience param drishtva. Otherwise, old previous sanskara will come, and then that will cause some difficulty. It will happen. So we should not take this cheaply actually. No, everything is omitted, sab hata diya. ऐसा नहीं होता है. Because material world is a sansara. It's a waves are going. The time is moving the waves like up and down, and the person is getting tossed. Even pure devotee also same. He is also getting tossed, but he fixed his mind in Krishna consciousness. So therefore he is able to protect. But we are getting tossed by the so many desires. Up and down. So therefore, fortunately, Krishna takes one thing is good, that he makes us forget previous life karma, whatever we have done. So therefore, the previous life sanskaras, maybe they are inside subtle body or subtle subconscious mind, but at least they are not immediately coming out. But when we begin a fresh journey in our life, so then right training is important, right culture is important, and that remains still lifelong. That remains still lifelong. It's not cheap. Since my mind has been engaged in the service of the Lord, I have been enjoying. So okay, this I spoke. So Durvasa Muni example, a great yogi simply because of mind engaged in Krishna consciousness. So we know that. So how Amrish Maharaj did not get agitated by the activity of Durvasa Muni. Okay, I think we have to begin from here. So one devotee can read. Who will read? Prabhuji. Okay, Aman Prabhu, you will read. Aman Mittal Prabhu, you can read. ठीक है 5 श्लोकास तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परा वसे हि यस्य इन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता yes Aman Prabhu is not there Ashish Tiwari Prabhu is there
Yes, Prabhu, I can read today. Yes.
you can read
One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, and fixes his consciousness upon me is known as man of steady intelligence.
yes
That the higher, sorry,
yes you can read this
that the highest conception of yoga perfection is Krishna consciousness is clearly explained in this verse. And unless one is Krishna conscious, it is not at all possible to control the senses. As cited above, the great sage says Durvasha Muni picked a quarrel with Maharaj Ambrish, and Durvasa Muni unnecessarily became angry out of pride and therefore could not check his senses. On other hand, the king, although not as powerful as yogi, as a sage, the devotee of the Lord silently tolerated all the sages' injustice and thereby emerged victorious. The king was able to control his senses because of the following qualification as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Welcome, Sam.
Okay I will read now so see we are going to read the same context is same only how to control senses and Prabhupada is elaborating in a different angles. So here Krishna says very clearly, one who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control and fixes his consciousness upon me, then he is having steady intelligence. So what do you mean by consciousness? So consciousness is again it's a spiritual, yes. So but still we are dealing our consciousness through mind and intelligence in one sense you can say. So when our mind becomes fixed on Krishna and intelligence also become fixed on Krishna and senses are controlled, so then that person has steady intelligence. Simple. It means Krishna also says senses has to be controlled, restrained. So this is there. So now Prabhupada mentions that is only possible when one is fully Krishna conscious. So when one is fully Krishna conscious, then only he can be having Isita Pragya Buddhi, Isita Pragya. His Pragya will be fixed up on Krishna. It will never go here and there. So example is Savai Manaha Krishna Padaravindayor Vachamsi Vaikuntha Gunanuvarnane Karo Harer Mandir Marjanadishu Shruttim Chakare Achyut Satkatodaye Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane Drusho Tadbhritta Gate Sparshe Anga Sangamam Granam Chatat Pada Saroja Saurabhe Srimat Tulasya Rashanam Tadarpite पादो हरे क्षेत्र पदानुसर्पणे शिरो ऋषिकेश पदाभिवंदने कामं च दास्य न तु काम काम्यया यतोत्तम श्लोक जनाश्रया रतिः. These are very beautiful slokas of engaging one's mind, senses all in service to Krishna. So first of all Prabhupada says that first of all mind should be engaged. Krishna Padaravindayo. The beginning of devotional service is I am servant of servant, or I am Krishna's servant, or I am servant of servant. So then fixing our mind on lotus feet of Krishna, Padaravinda. So after that, senses has to be engaged. Okay, why I am cutting sabji? Why I am hearing lecture? Because I am servant of Krishna. I am servant of my Guru Maharaj. That's why I am hearing lecture. First, mind should be fixed that I am servant. Save mana Krishna padara vindayu. Then the later senses will. Sometimes what happens is means desires become very like a tiger, and they start attacking. Immediately we have to become humble in front of Krishna, and then we have to remember the lotus feet of Gurudev, lotus feet of Krishna, and says, "My Lord, I am servant. What this desire? Why it is coming in front of me? Why?" Immediately, again. So then the desire will go away. Because Savay Manha Krishna Padara Bindayo. This is our eternal occupation or eternal Sarupa. We are servant actually. So we are not here to fulfill our desire. We are here to fulfill Krishna's desire. Yata uttam, this is na kamya. Kamam cha dasyana tu kam kamya. Means whatever my desire is there, that desire should be to fulfill your desire, Krishna. Then my desire will be happy, or my desire will be fulfilled. I want to fulfill your desire. So these external things are there. Okay, vachamsi vaikunta gunani varnale. Why I am using my vacha to glorify Krishna. I am using my karor hare. I am doing mopping in the temple hall, or I am hearing Krishna katha. Sutyam chakaras. Achyuta sat kathode. I am touching the okay. I am Mukunda Lingalaya Darshana. I am using my eyes to take darshan of the Lord. Mukunda Linga, his body. Then Tad Bhritya, Gatra, Sparshe, and I am touching the devotees with my body. Granam Chatat Pada Saroja Saurave. I am smelling. Grana means smelling. The lotus, Tat Pada Saroja, so the lotus feet of the Lord is there. So, or the Kamal, which has touched the lotus feet of the Lord, or Lord is wearing the garland. So that I am smelling the scent offered to the Lord, the lotus offered to the Lord. His body also is smelling like a lotus. So I am smelling that. Srimat Tulasya Rasanam Tadarpite. I am tasting. Rasanam means I am tasting. What I am tasting? The tulsi leaf which is offered to the lotus feet of Lord or offered in his bhoga. I am tasting that. So the tongue is controlled, nose is controlled, skin is controlled, eyes is controlled, ears are controlled, hand is controlled, and vacha is controlled. And then Pado Hare Kshetra Padanu Sarpane. I am going to temple from my home or going to pilgrim places. But then this is also controlled. Where it is somewhere unmute. Please mute yourself. And then Siro Hrisikesh Padabhibandane means again offering obeisances to the Lord. So just by hearing this thing, what we understand, we can focus on the Lord. My Lord, which of my senses is not engaged in your service? सर से आपके चरण में नमस्कार, हाथों से आपके मंदिर में पोछा, नाक से आपका जो भी सुगंध आ रहा है आपके शरीर से या आपके अगरबत्ती से या जो भी सेंट से वो सूंघ रहा हूँ मैं, मुंह में हमेशा तुलसी है, भगवान का प्रसाद है? तो देन where is the question of then going astray? Desire. Only desire is a problem. So therefore that desire is also calculated here. Kamam cha dasyana tu kamikam. All the desires should be for your fulfilling. So many times we have different desire. So then we can work upon our desires. How? By fixing our mind again on lotus feet of Krishna. Savaya manaha Krishna pada aravindayo. So this is the beginning of bhakti. Our mind should focus that I am a servant of my spiritual master, I am servant of Krishna. So whatever I do, it should be in that context. So now the word matpara is used here. So because Krishna says, what is this? Matpara. Yukta asita matpara. So this is explained by Acharyas also. Prabhupada says is most significant in this connection. How can one become matpara? It is described in the life of Amrish Maharaj. So he says here, all these qualifications made him fit to become Matpara devotee. So Baldev Vidyabhushan, what he says? Matpara remarks, Mad Bhakti Prabhavena Sarva Indriya Vijaya पूर्विका स्वात्म दृष्टि सुलभेति भावः. The senses can be completely controlled only by the strength of devotional service. मद भक्ति प्रभावेना सर्व इंद्रिया विजय, सर्व इंद्रिया के ऊपर विजय हो जाएगा. ठीक है, मद भक्ति प्रभावेना. And also the example of fire is sometimes given as a blazing fire burns everything within the room. Lord Vishnu, situated in the heart of a yogi, burns all kinds of impurities. So basically, one whose mind, senses are all engaged in Krishna consciousness, he has conquered over his senses, and then he is called Matpara. Matpara devotee. So he is a Matpara devotee. So the same examples here, what Prabhupada is saying there, or what Acharya has mentioned, Prabhupada has mentioned above. So Matpara means, again, is a Krishna conscious devotee. Mera devotee, Mera. Mat means Mera. Mat para. He has given up all his desires just for me. Surrender to me. जैसे नारायण परा सर्वे, नारायण परायण, इसी तरह मत para. So mat means Krishna is saying mind. So you mat you remove, you put Krishna para or Krishna parayan. Same thing. Parayan means surrendered. So mat para means surrender to me, basically. One who has surrendered to me. ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः संगस्ते सुपजायते संगात् संजायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते.
While contemplating the object of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger arises.
Now we are discussing this section is 58 to 63. How does he restrain his senses? Now in these two shloka, one shloka ahead also, these are the downfall. If somebody contemplates with a wrong intention on sense object, contemplation with wrong intention is important. If somebody is not a Matpara devotee and is seeing some sense object, immediately he will try to enjoy, either through mind or physically going and enjoying. But if somebody is a Matpara devotee, even though he may see the sense object, he will not fall down because he is not at all affected. He is indifferent to sense object. So this we should understand. This is for materialist people. How by wrong contemplation degradation happens. So dhyayato vishayan pumsaha. So first of all, what happens? The object of senses is contemplated. How the lust arises? Because in third chapter, in last section, Krishna explains that how lust is the biggest enemy for the practicing yogi. So lust means what? Lust means adamant attachment to what is prohibited. Adamant attachment. Adamant chahiye. Adamant attachment to what is prohibited. So that is called lust. So this lust should not be there. And lust is nothing but it's a transformation or it's a perverted form of love. Love is the real object, but when the love is contaminated by material desires, then the love becomes lust. Same frequency, same force of love has become lust. Force will be same. So that is why living entity is not a ritualistic being. He is not a ritualistic being. Just you teach him some rituals, you do agarbatti, but he has a passion. He has a very longing, great desires to serve Lord, to love somebody. But if that passion has not been directed to a right person, right process is not given, so then he will misutilize somewhere. Somewhere he will misutilize, even though he is doing puja, paja, jo bhi kar raha hai, karne do. But because he is a passionate person, living in entity by nature, it's an active person. So he will somewhere, by through his mind or through his senses, somewhere he will do here and there, because he is not fully Krishna conscious. So therefore, while contemplating the sense of objects, a person develops attachment for them. So attachment how develops? First he contemplates, and then lust develops from such attachment. And from lust, anger. So when lust is not satisfied, anger comes. Unfulfilled lust give rise to anger, and fulfilled lust give rise to greed. और चाहिए और चाहिए. तो दोनों तरीकों से बर्बादी है. मिल जाए तो भी बर्बादी है, और ना मिले तब भी बर्बादी है. One who is not Krishna conscious is subject to material desires while contemplating the object of senses. Just see, Prabhupada writes in the first statement only. One is not Krishna conscious, he is subject to material desires while contemplating on object of senses. Krishna conscious means what? Again, Savaya Mana Krishna Padara Vendayo. This is a Krishna Mat Para devotee. Your mind should be focused. I am servant of Krishna. Whatever desires is there is to for pleasure of Krishna. Like that. So the senses require real real engagement, and if they are not engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord, they will certainly seek engagement in the service of materialism. Just simple. What is the more to explain now here? Prabhupada is clearly writing, if somebody is not engaged in Krishna consciousness, he will be engaged in materialism. Yes. So including Brahma, Lord Shiva, is subject to the influence of sense object. The only method to get out of this puzzle is to become Krishna conscious. And then he mentions a story of Lord Shiva. So Parvati could agitate Lord Shiva for sense pleasure. But Haridas Thakur could not be agitated. Surely Parvati is the wife of Shiva, but example is taken here, and prostitute was not a wife of Haridas Thakur. But Haridas Thakur was a sannyasi, and he was not at all be affected by such kind of allurement, because he was a Mat Para devotee, or he was a fully Krishna conscious. Yamunacharya also example mentioned, shuns all the material sense enjoyment due to higher taste for spiritual enjoyment in the association of the Lord. That is the secret of success. Yeah. One who is not therefore in the Krishna consciousness, however powerful he may be in controlling the senses by artificial repression, is sure ultimately to fail, for the highest thought of sense pleasure will agitate him to gratify his desires. Jaisita Pragya controls also the mind, that indeed is the cause of the control of the senses. If one does not have control on the mind, please hear the result. So okay, so these are the downfall. Progress. So this happens sequence by sequence. Okay, I will give one activity just now, just so please understand carefully. One activity I will show you. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhrama, smriti brahmasat buddhinaso, buddhinasat pranashyati. Yes, Prabhu.
From anger, complete delusion arises, and from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool.
So basically the target is intelligence. Target is intelligence. इसको गिरा दिया ना तो बस काम खत्म. माया का काम क्या है? ये इसको बुद्धू बना दो बस. इसीलिए बात चल रही है प्रज्ञा की. प्रज्ञा मीन्स इंटेलिजेंस. इंटेलिजेंस, व्हेन इंटेलिजेंस को एक बोल्ड आउट कर दिया तो गया व्यक्ति, खत्म. So it's not material intelligence again. Therefore, men and women are fighting in foreign and India also. Oh, who's intelligent? Man is intelligent, more intelligent. Woman is less intelligent. Oh no, both are equally intelligent. Prabhupada says women are less intelligent. Prabhupada said already. Shastra said already. But we are still fighting. But we are all are less intelligent in one sense, because we have not taken to spiritual life. But again, why it is said like that? Because of this reason, not because of bringing good marks or clarifying ISPCS exams or this or that, but because the nature is like that. Man nature and woman nature is like that. So both have to take shelter of words of scriptures and protect themselves, like that. So because the main intelligence is calculated not in terms of bringing marks, but in terms of protecting your senses and mind, for which woman becomes susceptible easily, and man does not become, because his body is made with austerity. His body can perform austerity, can detach from sense object, but women cannot do so easily. So therefore they are said less intelligent, because they can immediately fall prey to sense enjoyment. नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ बिग बिग ISPCs, वो तो ज़्यादा ला ही सकते हैं, उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. So remember, this is not a question. So therefore here intelligence is targeted. Intelligence is targeted here. So Maya, so through lust intelligence ultimately finishes away. Or once intelligence is finished, फिर तो कुछ भी करेगा. Whatever Maya has to make him do, he will do everything. So at last he falls to material pool. By development of Krishna consciousness. Okay, this is a Srila Rupa Goswami has given us direction. Prapancha katya buddhya hari sambandhi vastuna mumukshubhi parityago vairagyam falgu katyate. This is very important. Falgu vairagya and suska vairagya and yukta vairagya. So what is yukta vairagya? What is falgu vairagya? So by development of Krishna consciousness, one can know that everything has a use in service of the Lord. Those who are without knowledge of Krishna consciousness artificially try to avoid material objects, and as a result, although they desire liberation from material bondage, they do not attain to the perfect stage of renunciation. And this is called Falgu, Falgu Vairagya. Okay. On the other hand, a person in Krishna consciousness knows how to use everything in service of the Lord. Therefore, he does not become a victim of material consciousness. So, there was one time one lady went to foreign temple, ISKCON temple, and then she saw, she was in Kirtan. Hey, please stop this Kirtan. This is the old music. Who is hearing this music? Very old music. अभी भी सुनते क्या लोग? ठीक है. So this lady went to foreign ISKCON temple, Western world, and she saw some brahmacharis and people dancing in kirtan. So she got little surprised, because in foreign people means they are mostly frustrated people, because they have enjoyed all their senses and they have just खत्म कर दिया है सब कुछ अपने जीवन में, सब कुछ एंजॉय करके देख लिया, कुछ मिलता नहीं है उनको. तो जब देखते कि अरे इतना हैप्पी व्यक्ति कैसे हो सकता है डांस करते हुए, बिकॉज मैं तो उतना हैप्पी नहीं हूँ, तो हाउ कैन ही बी हैप्पी. When she saw, then she said, I want to have an audience with you. तो बोले ब्रह्मचारी बोले okay, yes, ask me question. So she said, she took out a diary from her purse and then she started writing. Okay, tell me, do you have a job? He said no. So then she wrote nil in her diary. Okay, tell me, do you have money? No, we don't have any bank balance. Nil. Then again she wrote nil. And then okay, tell me, do you have a car? Then he wrote no, we use temple car. So she wrote nil. And then she said that 1, 2, 3 more questions she asked. And then she asked, do you have a girlfriend? She said no, we are celibates. How can you have a girlfriend? So again she wrote nil. And she got so much angry, means her face became very, and then she just took the paper and then did like this and threw it and said, how can you be so happy without having all these things, without not having all these things? How can we be happy? तो उसको समझ में ही नहीं आया. So then this devotee started telling कि okay, see, what is Krishna consciousness, what is Krishna conscious philosophy. So philosophy of Krishna consciousness is this, that everything belongs to Krishna. Bhoktaram yagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram. And process of Krishna consciousness is to engage everything in service of Krishna. So therefore, even though the devotee does not personally possess those things, but he is engaging everything in service of Krishna, and therefore he is happy. Yatvamam santim richati. Krishna is the proprietor, enjoyer and friend of everyone. In a similar way, so this is Yukta Vairagya, using the things of Krishna for his service. In a similar way, Grihastha, householder devotees, when they bring deity in the home, then deity becomes the Malik. Like a temple, there is a deity. Deity is a main person, Raja. Deity को खिलाना पड़ता है, सब कुछ पहनाना पड़ता है. So many उपचार has to be done all the day, throughout the year, so many years. Again, in the similar way, when deity becomes the king of the temple, when the deities comes to home, then deity becomes the king of the home. And then Grihastha devotee has to feed the Lord, dress the Lord, do everything for the Lord. Then what happens? Then they use their things considering that these things belong to Krishna. And so This is a prasad, and I'm using this for service of Krishna. That is why this is the way to become Yukta Vairagi in Grahastha Ashram. So we have to keep Krishna in center. Like here in ashram, there is Krishna in center, deities are center, and all of us may be living nicely, no issue. In a similar way, outside also, Grahasthas, devotees have to live nicely, but keep Krishna in center. That is what Prabhupada is mentioning. And here down comes the prasadam. So Gyanis, they cannot eat prasadam. They cannot eat because they say, Arey, this is a asat vastu. Asat vastu hai. How can we eat? We cannot enjoy. But devotees, they understand it's a prasadam. It's offered to deities. Food is Krishna. It is offered to Krishna, and we are taking that prasadam. So there is no karmic reaction. It is food is spiritual because Krishna is the center. So this is called Yukta Vairagya. So what is the Vairagya here? Nothing belongs to me. I am not a proprietor. I am not enjoyer. I am not friend, or I am not basically controller or friend of it. Krishna is everything. Okay, we may be practicing devotee for such principle, no issue. But begin somewhere. We have to begin it. Chalu to karo. So that is encouraged here. So that we have to keep Krishna in center. Everything for Krishna. So the more we, again, so now when Krishna comes to home, then Krishna does not come alone. Because Krishna will call his associates, sadhus, बुलाएंगे, चलो भाई, आ जाओ इधर थोड़ा कीर्तन करेंगे. So then Krishna calls his sadhus, devotees, okay, come. So Krishna makes that home suitable for his enjoyment. Like temple, so all the time kirtan is going on. Because Krishna is making temple suitable for his enjoyment. He wants to hear his holy name. Apna glorification, Krishna wants to hear. Yes, sing about me, glorify me, offer me, all these things Krishna is saying. In a similar way, Krishna wants that devotee should come to his house, wherever he is, and he should make his whole place opulent. His whole place. One place, Srila Prabhupada mentions, very nice statement. If somebody offers Krishna sumptuous prasad at his home, itna sumptuous prasad khilao, then Lakshmi herself comes to that house and resides there. Because she is seeing that my Narayan is fed so nicely, so then she comes and resides there. So many times people worship Lakshmi separate from Narayan, and then they keep their home, the doors open, Lakshmi will come. But Lakshmi will come and give Lakshmi. So they want this thing, that Lakshmi should come, give Lakshmi and go away. Or be here, but we don't want to serve Narayan. Just you be here, provide Lakshmi, and we want to enjoy sense gratification. So one time Saurabhampu was saying, very nice joke. He was saying ki Lakshmi, her vehicle is Ullu. And Narayan vehicle is what? Garuda. So when you call Lakshmi alone, she makes you Ullu ka patta. She makes fool out of you. When you call Narayan, then Lakshmi will come sitting with Narayan on Garuda. So whom we want? We want Lakshmi only. So she will make Ullu ka patta. Because her vehicle is Ullu. So therefore Lakshmi should not be worshipped alone. She should be worshipped with Narayan. And basically Narayan should be worshipped, so Lakshmi will also come. So another meaning of it, when we serve Krishna so sumptuously, means feed him, it means when you make many items, you cannot eat those items. Because itna item kaun kha sakta hai? Iska matlab you have to distribute those items. It means preaching starts. When you cook many items, you have to distribute those items. And then Lakshmi starts saying, Arey, this person is distributing so many items. He is falling short of money. Then I have to fulfill. I have to give money to him. So that, therefore you find Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj also used to do like this. And whenever money used to come, he used to spend for Krishna. And again, he used to become bankrupt. Again, some devotee will say, Maharaj, where is that money? I spent it. Now I am waiting for next money. So he used to never store money. Immediately he used to spend money. Like that. And Krishna is to keep on sending. Okay, take more. So basically, this is a Vasudeva Kutumbakam. This is not a home of a single person. It's a home of Krishna. Vasudeva Kutumba. Whole world is a home of Krishna. And this can be seen by great saintly people whose hearts are always seeing not from perspective of who is my family member, who is my friend, who is my enemy. No, they are seeing everybody as a child of Krishna. So they can see whole world as a home of Krishna. And so therefore they want to spread Krishna consciousness everywhere. So Krishna wants to feed his children the prasadam which he has eaten. And that's why he inspires each devotee that, okay, now you are offering to me, now you offer this food to this person, and whatever lackness will come, achintyam. Also Krishna says that ananyas chintayanto maam ye jana paripasita tesam nitya viktanam yogashem vahamyaham. I bring it back. Whatever lackness is there, I will bring it. Don't worry. So like that. So this is a way to live Krishna consciousness. Yukta Vairagya. We are not here for Suska Vairagya. Krishna does not encourage Suska Vairagya even in Bhagavad Gita. He says, Arjuna, you have to fight. You cannot give up the war. You cannot give up your work. You have to fight. But the impersonators, they will say, give up the work, give up the result, everything. But Krishna does not encourage. Krishna encourages Yukta Vairagya. Remain detached from result, but do your duty. Offer everything to me. Actually, work for me. This is Yukta Vairagya. So Krishna is encouraging Yukta Vairagya in Bhagavad Gita, not Suska Vairagya. Vāgadves vimuktestu visya indriyescharan atma visayar vidhe atma prasadam adhigacchati.
But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of Lord.
Yes. Raga dves vimuktestu. What is the raga and dves? Attachment. Material attachment is raga. Dvesh means material aversion. A person becomes attached to something which gives him enjoyment. A person becomes averse to something which gives him misery. So we know that misery and happiness are the two sides of same coin in material world. That is called duality. Yes, you cannot have one without another. You have to accept, whether you accept with closed nose and means frowning eyes or whatever eyebrows, लेना ही पड़ेगा तुमको, क्योंकि आपने सुख लिया है तो दुख भी लेना ही पड़ेगा. So what happens? Any work we do, two reactions happen. One is gross, one is subtle. Gross reaction means you will get good or bad. Yes, gross reaction. And that good and bad may lead to you lead success and failure. Yes, accordingly. Like some child, some boy works hard, so you get good marks. Good marks means success. Bad marks, getting less marks means failure. So this is a gross reaction. So any work we do, we get gross reaction and then we get subtle reaction also. What is subtle reaction? Subtle reaction is happiness or distress. So when you get good marks, you feel happy in mind, correct? When you get bad marks, you feel distress in mind. Now the happiness and distress, these are the subtle reactions. Now happiness leads to rag, attachment, and misery leads to, or distress leads to what? Dvesha. Okay, so like that. Yes, Mataji, what is the question?
I don't know if I'm not wrong. Generally, Vesh word जो है हम उसके लिए यूज करते हैं envy के लिए.
नहीं, मैं सुन नहीं पा रहा हूँ, जोर से बोलिए.
हरे कृष्णा.
हाँ बोलिए. हाँ,
प्रभु जी, द्वेष is envy generally, but here द्वेष is considered as detachment. So I'm little confused.
नहीं,
द्वेष is envy ना प्रभु जी?
डिटैचमेंट नहीं बोला जा रहा है यहाँ पे एवर्जन बोला जा रहा है. एवर्जन मतलब क्या है? द्वेषी है, मीन्स आपको नहीं चाहिए, वो डिटैचमेंट नहीं है. इट्स नॉट डिटैचमेंट. You don't want, even though that thing may be good also, you don't want, because that good thing is causing you misery. Like सुबह नहीं उठना है, मेरे को नहीं उठना है, I don't want to get up. So you are averse to that. It's not that you are detached. नहीं, detached नहीं है, you are attached only, but you don't want. मेरे को वो नहीं चाहिए, मुझे सुबह नहीं उठना है, ऐसा. So aversion and attachment are two sides of same coin. You should understand. It's not a detachment, it's attachment only. Prabhupada says, like Arjuna does not want to fight. He's averse to fight. So averse to fight is also attachment. He's attached to the wrong thing. Attached to wrong thing is called aversion. And attached to something good, I want good marks, I want name, fame, then these are something good to be understood in the world as a good. So therefore attached to those things. So this is called aversion and attachment. attachment and aversion. So both are basically have to be given up. Rag and dvesh. Yes, what is the question?
So can I just give an example for this attachment diversion?
Yes, बताइए.
So, like for example, we should be beware of snakes.
Hmm.
Okay, and times the rope which is fallen may look like snake,
Hmm.
but that doesn't mean that everywhere we start going and finding out snakes.
Hmm.
वो सामने आया तो ठीक है, वो रस्सी है उससे बच के रहिए या
Hmm.
सांप है तो बच के रहिए,
Hmm.
उसका मतलब ये नहीं कि सब जगह आके हम सांप और रस्सी ढूंढते रहें.
Hmm.
So that is also a way of attachment only, that we should be beware of snakes, but we should not be searching snakes everywhere.
Okay. Hmm. Okay, that is the illusion. Correct. That is the illusion. Yeah. So correct. Okay. So basically, rag and dvesh. Our mind has been written with these two things. In our mind, these two things always are there. Rag and dvesh. So your mind is written with a two pen. One is pen of raga, other is द्वेष. दोनों जगह से माइंड हमारा बना इसी से, राग और द्वेष, अटैचमेंट और एवर्जन. मुझे नहीं चाहिए, मुझे चाहिए, मुझे चाहिए, नहीं चाहिए. संकल्प विकल्प, सेम थिंग. संकल्प मीन्स when you are attached to something, you sankalp for it. I want. When you don't want, vikalpa. I want, I'll do second alternative. I don't want. Like sometimes people have said, can we go to that place, temple? Can we go to there? नहीं, मुझे नहीं जाना है. Why? We should go to temple. No, मुझे नहीं जाना है. Aversion. Aversion to go to temple. सिनेमा हॉल चलना है, हाँ उधर जाना है. अटैचमेंट. अटैचमेंट आ गया. So, for right thing or wrong thing in this world, we have this attachment and aversion. We should understand. So, I just made you understand that gross reaction, good or bad, may lead to success or failure. Subtle reaction, happiness and distress, may lead to rag and dvesh. Okay? So, when we become happy with something, we become attached to that thing. When we become distressful, then we become averse to that thing. नहीं चाहिए ऐसा. बट ये सब to Vishayan Indriyascharan, yes, then he can control his sense and able to control his senses are also important, because ultimately who is the driving force for senses? Mind only. Mind उसको ड्राइव करता है. माइंड के पास एक्सपीरियंस है ना. Like somebody goes to, you go to other company, they will ask what is your experience. बोला नहीं मैं मंदिर में 6 साल रह के आया हूँ. We don't want that experience. Tell us some जॉब एक्सपीरियंस है. तो जॉब एक्सपीरियंस चाहिए उसको. सो एक्सपीरियंस पे आपको जॉब मिलता है. उसी तरीके से ये मटेरियलिस्ट लोग क्या करते हैं, एक्सपीरियंस लेते हैं लाइफ का, और वो एक्सपीरियंस माइंड में स्टोर होता है, इसलिए वो अपने सेंसेस को एकदम मजे में एंजॉय करने को लगा देते हैं, बिकॉज एक्सपीरियंस है ना उनको एंजॉयमेंट का. सो लाइक दैट. सो हियर the senses cannot be controlled if mind is convinced. Until mind is convinced, until mind can give up attachment and aversion, senses very difficult to control. So senses, then here Krishna says, has to be regulated through regulative principles of freedom, and also mind should be free from aversion attachment. Then one can attain the complete mercy of the Lord. So let us read here. It is explained that one may externally control the senses by some artificial, but unless senses are engaged in transcendental loving service, there every chance of fall. Although the person in full Krishna conscious may apparently be on sensual plane, this is very important. Because of his being Krishna conscious, he has no attachment to sensual activities. The Krishna conscious person is concerned only with the satisfaction of Krishna and nothing else. Therefore, he is transcendental to all attachment and detachment. This is similar like Yukta Vairagya is appearing. Somebody is driving car, somebody is cooking. So it appears that he is working with his senses and is cooking some halwa, means he is going to eat also, and he surely eats also. So then it appears that he is attached to senses. But here Prabhupada mentions that actually he is not doing something by his independent mind. He is doing what Krishna has allowed him to do, what Guru has said to do. So see, even the karmi's life of attachment and detachment appears to be similar to devotees' life, who are also living a life of attachment and detachment. We also have attachment. What is attachment? We also eat prasadam. We also come to temple. We also talk with the devotees. We also do job. We also hear some music. People may say, he's also attached. But our quality of attachment is different. We are hearing Krishna conscious subject matter. We are talking Krishna conscious subject matter. We are eating prasadam. So quality is different. The action may appear same, but quality is different. Therefore, Prabhupada says you have to change the quality of your desire. Quality of desire is changed now. And detachment is also there, four regulative principle. We follow. And again, asat sanga, we tyag, asat sanga tyag. So that also we don't involve into asat sanga. So that is detachment. Vairagya. Material people also detached. They don't come to temple anytime. Detachment, such a big detachment he has. And again, for some seva or for we ask some donation, they will never give donation. They will only give donation to some other yogis, other people. So again, he is so much detached from Krishna. So like that. So even though devotee may appear to be on sensual platform, Prabhupada says that it is by mercy of Krishna actually. That Krishna has allowed them to do that, and Krishna is also purifying them through that process. If Krishna wants, the devotee can do anything which is ordinarily undesirable, and if Krishna does not want, he shall not do that which he would have ordinarily done for his own satisfaction. This is so important. Devotee can do something for his own satisfaction, but still he will not do because Krishna does not want. And which he does not want to do, he will still do because Krishna wants. Like in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Nityanand Prabhu was a very, now Nityananda Theodosi is coming, is a very transcendental person. He has taken sannyas, and after taking sannyas he broke the danda also. He told her, what is this sannyas? I don't want sannyas. Taking sannyas के बाद भी डंडा तोड़ दिया. उसके बाद then he wore all kind of opulent dress. In all 10 fingers he put different rings, diamond, gold, emerald, क्या क्या पहन के रखा पूरे 10 अंगुलियों में. And then he goes to some liquor shop, and then he says, hey, chant Hare Krishna. And then he goes to some Mataji also. He speaks to her. So then people are watching him and saying, who is a sannyasi? He's taken sannyas. What is he doing? So then they go and report to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say, he is Avadut. Even though he goes to some liquor shop and talks to women, still Brahma has to worship him. Brahma cannot give up his worship. Still Brahma has to worship him. And then in further discussion in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Nityananda Prabhu says to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually you only are doing through me. I am simply your puppet. You are becoming sannyasi in Jagannath Puri, and you are making me walk into liquor shop and going here. You are only doing through me. So I am simply puppet in your hand. So you can understand, the Lord, sometimes what he wants to do to somebody, nobody knows. So Nityananda is saying, you want me to go to liquor shop. You are not going because you are sannyasi. Then you are sending me to go to deliver these people. So sometimes devotees may not want to do such certain thing, but because Lord wants, he has to do. In this way, devotees become puppet in the hand of Krishna. So like that. It has been said that even if one has conquered the external senses, if he does not offer his mind to me, his spiritual endeavor is failure. That person who has controlled his mind, a mind offered to me, Vidya Atma, through which he finally achieved the destruction of impurities of the mind, such as attachment to pleasure, though enjoying charan, the forbidden sense objects such as sound by the senses such as the ear, but which are devoid of the attraction and repulsion, and which are dependent on the mind, Atma Vasaya, which is offered to me. That person finally attains a pure mind, Prasadam. Prasad can mean purity as well as the mercy. So here Acharya, they say that Prasadam means what? The mind becomes pure. Controlled senses will complete when we offer our mind to Krishna. Yes, so controlling senses will be possible when we offer our mind to Krishna actually. It is mentioned. So charan means moving, charana. So mind is charana. Mind is already moving. Basically senses are looking for sense objects, charan. So here it's mentioned that when we offer your mind to me, then the charan of the senses will stop. They will not look for sense objects. Why? Because mind becomes purified of impurities. All the experience of material enjoyment will be purified through the mind. Mind se nikal jayega. And then the senses will also be controlled because mind has become purified. So here it's mentioned here. Finally attains pure mind. So we want pure mind. And when pure mind happens, then the senses can easily be controlled. And how the pure mind will happen? You have to offer that mind to Krishna. So this is how Acharya says. So many times His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj speaks about this shloka. Raga dves vimuktestu Indriya visiyas charan Atma vaser vidhe atma pashadam adhigacchati. So here Atma vaser means you have to control your senses in your plan should be there that I have to engage my senses in Krishna consciousness. Atma vaser. And then he will receive the prasadam, pure mind, pure senses, engaged mind, engaged senses he will achieve because of his Atma Vaser. Surely it's both the side. When you engage your mind in Krishna service, then it becomes pure and it will again engage in Krishna service. ये ऐसा है reciprocal है. ठीक है. So how to attain prasadam of the Lord? One has to become free from raga and dvesh and one has to control one's senses. And for that one has to engage in Krishna consciousness. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanir asyopajayate prasanna chetaso hayasu buddhi parivatishthate. Yes.
For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established.
See, actually the Buddhi Yoga which we have read the last section earlier, and even this Buddhi Yoga, who has perfected Buddhi Yoga, we are reading this section. Isita Pragya means who has perfected Buddhi Yoga. So what do you mean of Buddhi Yoga, or basically this whole section is talking about Krishna is saying a very nice loving statement to the practitioners. If you live for me, I will live with you. And later I will live for you. If you live for me, I will live with you and later I will live for you. Basically, what does mean by this? Krishna is saying, if you want to practice Buddhi Yoga, you have to live for me. You have to live for me. In this world also, any affection, any deep relationship happen, what happens? The person always say, like mother says to child, the newborn child, I live for you. Because child is fully dependent. Mother has to do so much things, so many things, especially mothers. Because the father, they basically go for job. So mother has to spend a lot of time with the child. I live for you. And then deep affection develops. Even though the child is a foreign element, basically foreign being coming from different world, kahan se aaya pata nahi. And for child again, these two parents are again the foreign being. And for parents also foreign being. But there is the attachment. Why? Because of care and attention given to by mother to child. And so relationship develops. In a similar way, the youths, the girl and boy, they also, the first attachment happens, I live for you. And then after marriage, they live with each other. But after marriage, this whole, all the feelings of enjoyment, they go away. Like in autumn season, in the rainy season, what happens? A great shower of rain comes of feeling, romantic feeling. In rainy season, and in autumn season all patjhad sab patte nikal jate. So this happens in material world, all kind of love. So then they only live with each other, but they never live for each other. But Krishna is saying here that you have to live for me. When you live for me, I will live with you. Means when iska matlab kya? When we always think I am waking up for Krishna, I am doing something for Krishna, then Krishna sends his devotees, spiritual master, initiate this person. The person becomes initiated. Then Krishna says, I want to come to your home as a deity. Then Krishna comes as a deity. Then the devotee starts loving more. So now Krishna physically starts living with the devotees. And then Krishna again engages that devotee in preaching seva, in more difficult sevas. Because of it, the devotee becomes dependent on Krishna more. And then Krishna not only physically lives, but also lives in the mind of devotee in a form of dependence and remembrance. So devotee becomes, when he preaches, he goes into difficult situation. or when he sacrificed for the Lord, he goes in difficult situation, he remembers Krishna. And then Krishna, he's saying, I live with you. Bhagavad Gita also sloka says that one who's searching for me, I'm never lost for him, I'm there. And when one continues with devotional service till spontaneous raga nuga bhakti and ahead, then Krishna decides to live for us. Like Amrish Maharaj. He protected Amrish Maharaj. He protected Arjuna from his own bow. Jayadratha, he wanted to kill Jayadratha. But Krishna said, I live for you. Namaya bhaktya pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. Because you have lived for me, you have dedicated your life for me, now I will live for you. Actually. So, because the real love is this, reciprocal. So, Krishna wants to show that full emotion exchange. But that will only happen when we situate in proper identity with Krishna. That I am your Gopi, Gopa or whatever. That relationships has to be again come back. And then Krishna will also live for that devotee. But for beginning, what is that? Krishna is demanding us, live for me. When you live for me, then all your reactions I will take away. Sardharman paritajya mam ekam saranam bhaja. Just finish off all the reactions. So here, it means that. So Buddhi Yoga means live for Krishna. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such a satisfied state, one intelligence is soon well established. Yes. So threefold misery does not. What are threefold miseries? Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik. So who is expecting that I should not become affected with my mind, my body, my relatives, my in-laws, or corona, or thandi, garmi? If somebody wants, so here is a statement. If you are satisfied in your Krishna consciousness, then threefold miseries does not exist for you. If you are not satisfied, then they are with you. In such a satisfied consciousness, one intelligence is soon well established. तो देखो, satisfaction है तो बुद्धि है, मतलब बुद्धि है मतलब बुद्धि established है. संतुष्टि नहीं है तो बुद्धि भी नहीं है, केवल दुख ही दुख है. So it is important. मतलब people search for satisfaction in money, in enjoyment, but they should understand real satisfaction has to be searched in the self, Atma, because everything else is a dream. Our happiness should not become dream. Our search should not become dream. First we have to find the real self, which is Atma. So real happiness also belongs in Atma. So then one has to become fixed in Krishna consciousness. It means basically spiritual life is a real life. Spiritual happiness is a real happiness. Other happiness, like one devotee, somehow he became distracted. He was a very senior devotee. He was saying, so Prabhupada says, attend Mangal Arati. Are you happy? Are you happy, Brahmachari? Have you attended Mangal Arati? How many Mangal Arati you have attended? So we said, yes, we are attending all. They said, are you happy now? Prabhupada says, you become happy. So then I was perplexed. Then I was asking, then what do you mean by happiness then? Yes, you are telling now, you become happy. Chant Hare Krishna, you become happy. Have you become happy now? So people may question like that, have you become happy? So see, happiness, that platform Krishna is mentioning here, intelligence has to be fixed first. Yes, before that mind has to be given to Krishna. Before that senses has to be controlled. And then that person will be satisfied and no threefold misery will act on him. This should happen. So much course of activity is awaiting for us. इतना बड़ा course पढ़ाई करना है. If I am studying in second class and somebody is challenging, have you done PhD? Have you got the result of PhD? I will say, भाई मैंने PhD मैं कर रहा हूँ, मेरे को अभी 10 साल और लगेंगे, करने दो मेरे को. Let me first finish up, then I'll get the certificate. But you are challenging my education in second class only. What is this? So we have to understand Krishna consciousness is a full process. It will give the result after certain time. And we are in second class, third class. So don't try to, because the name is given similar, like आजकल सबको हम devotee बोल देते हैं. PhD वाला भी devotee है, second class वाला भी devotee है ना? लेकिन वो devotee इसमें अंतर है दोनों में. वो PhD वाला devotee है और ये बच्चा है अभी, नर्सरी वाला है. So we are in nursery right now. So therefore we need spiritual master, we need protection of parents, we need to be inspired, practice Krishna consciousness. And we are doing it. And somebody practice after 20 years, he may say that, are you getting happy? Are you happy? No, again, he should not say, because its number of years does not decide. Basically, our practice has to be more sincere. And we know that through Shastra, this is a goal. And when our intelligence becomes fixed up, our mind becomes offered to Krishna, and our senses are controlled, then no misery. And no misery means surely happiness, because we are situated in Atma. So then, this is an important thing. So we should not get deluded by any Tom, Dick, Harry, or even whatever. So sometimes it may happen among people that sometimes they also say chant and struggle to be happy. Sometimes they also make such statements. But we should understand that chanting is a transcendental activity. Have you given your mind to Krishna? First tell me. Have you given your intelligence to Krishna? First tell me. Have you engaged your senses to Krishna? First tell me. If not, then how can be happy? When Prabhupada says chant and be happy, it means Prabhupada says that this is a PhD बाबा, ये chant है, ये chanting करोगे ना शुद्ध नाम, तो आपको सब हो जाएगा. So he is expecting that, don't think happiness will come from somewhere else. By chanting only it will come happiness, because that is like more happiness than chanting kya? Because you can see Naam, Rup, Gun, Leela, everything is manifested by chanting. So therefore that is PhD. So right now our chanting is to take the or aspire for the grace of the Lord. My Lord, please help me in controlling my senses. Please help me in engaging my senses and controlling my mind. And please help me to focus more on the spiritual subject matter. Please help me in this way. And some happiness also Krishna gives by chanting. It's not that there's totally dryness. But process को गलत मत समझो. Process सही है. Process का result आएगा. समय लगेगा उसके लिए. जल्दी नहीं आएगा. Overnight nobody becomes billionaire. है ना? Just imagine people for IIT, if somebody is to cross IIT, कितना साल पढ़ाई करना पड़ता है? आजकल तो 6ठी क्लास 7वीं क्लास से लगा देते हैं फाउंडेशन कोर्स, है कि नहीं? और उसके बाद भी वो पास होता है कि नहीं पता नहीं. Just to have a good rank or good intellectual person, become intellectual person and good institute, you have to work so much hard. Do you think if you have to go out of this Brahmanda, is it such a easy thing to go out of the Brahmanda? Just within 20 years we want to achieve that. आसान नहीं है ना वो, ब्रह्मांड के बाहर जाना कैसे पॉसिबल? वो भी दैट इज आल्सो एग्जाम ना, यू आर राइटिंग एग्जाम ऑफ योर कॉन्शियसनेस. So therefore we have to understand millions of lives we have misused in serving Maya. So we have to patiently practice, having faith in Acharya. It will come. And Krishna कभी भी ड्राइनेस नहीं देते. अगर आप सिंसियरली प्रैक्टिस करते हो तो कृष्णा आपको ट्रांसडेंटल प्लेजर भी देते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि ये ड्राई प्रोसेस है. इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. But yes, asatsanga tyagi, if you have done asatsanga, then these kind of thoughts come. We start listening to many yogis, babas and some other process of, okay, कोई भी प्रोसेस कर लो, क्या करोगे? बॉडी को ही अच्छा बनाओगे ना, या माइंड को, और क्या कर सकते हो? When you come to talking about soul, it means again Krishna conscious ही हो जाएगा ना वो. So your definition of happiness is body and mind, but how long? जब बूढ़ा हो जाएगा व्यक्ति, कितना ही बॉडी को कुछ करो कुछ नहीं होने वाला, क्योंकि बूढ़ा में तो वैसे भी आनंद नहीं है, बॉडी प्रॉब्लम कर देगा आपको. सो देयर इज नो solution then Krishna consciousness, no solution. Body mind we can take care, but how much we can make happy? Body has a limitation, mind has a limitation again. Yeah. So therefore only the real truth is Atma and Paramatma or Sri Bhagwan, and their relationship is bhakti. This is a real truth, and we have to look for that truth, not become swayed away by so-called people of this world who are looking for temporary happiness. I may not get happiness in Mangal Aarti, but again I don't want happiness of sex life or of eating something outside. We don't want that happiness. Yes, why we want? That is temporary. Even though person may enjoy, but that is temporary. Agama apaino nitya. Everything has a beginning and end. Everything, either misery or happiness. Day begins early in the morning and day ends in the evening. Happens. Night begins in the night and it ends in the daytime. हर एक चीज खत्म होता है इस संसार में, कोई भी चीज बचा नहीं है. So what happiness you are looking for, that also has an end. But have you got the Brahma Sukha? No. So if you settle down with your temporary happiness and say that this is a happiness, then you are foolish. You have to settle down with the Brahma Sukh, which is never ending, which has no beginning, no end. वो हमें चाहिए, उसके लिए हम मेहनत कर रहे हैं. तो इसलिए मेहनत करने का फल मिलेगा. भगवान बता रहे इसमें कि आप इसी तरह प्रज्ञ बन जाओगे तो ये सब मिलता है हमको, तो बनना पड़ेगा ना ऐसा. अभी सभी लोग IAS PCS बनना चाहते हैं, IITN बनना चाहते हैं, IM बनना चाहते हैं, तो फिर उनको क्या समझाएंगे? उनको तो वही चाहिए, संसार का ही सुख. दैट इज नॉट गुड. So okay, unless one is Krishna conscious, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in 5th chapter. What is that? Bhoktaram yagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam santi mrichyati. When one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the good results of sacrifice and penance, that he is the proprietor of all universal manifestation, and that he is the real friend of all living beings, then only one can have a real peace. So this consciousness one has to develop. Therefore, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. हो गया ना? बहुत सही बताया. Krishna consciousness is a transcendental platform, and mind can remain here and there material platform में. Like I want to become this. Okay, after becoming what? Goal खत्म. Mind को समझ में नहीं आता अब करना क्या है. Yes, like one of our relative, one mother comes and she said to me, oh, now my son has he has cleared this competitive exam, and now he is in this college. Now earlier I was cooking for him, and now what is to be done? He has gone to hostel. मेरे को क्या करना है? Then she was weeping actually. Basically, the family, they have attachment to their children or son, daughter, and they keep the daughter and son at home till 12th class, and after 12th class competitive exam, then they go to the hostel. So then they start crying, अरे बच्चा चला गया. तब करना क्या है? So this is the thing what is spoken here. Your goal of mind is very limited. You keep your limited goal. So therefore, after that goal is achieved, you think that what to be done. That's why it's mentioned disturbance is due to the want of an ultimate goal. Disturbance तभी होता है because हमारा goal higher होना चाहिए. Live for higher purpose. If your purpose is high, then your desires will be high. Then your attachments will not settle with this world. Your attachments will also be for Krishna, for higher purpose. So when one is certain that Krishna is enjoyer, proprietor, friend of everyone and everything, then one can be with a steady mind bring out about peace. Yes, correct. So basically this is a higher thing. What is that higher purpose? Krishna is enjoyer, Krishna is proprietor, Krishna is a friend. So then with this steady mind we can be in peace. इसको धीरे धीरे रियलाइज भी होता है लाइफ में. अगर आप इसको फेथ रखोगे तो रियलाइज भी होता है. कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस इज नॉट अ रिचुअलिस्टिक प्रोसेस. It's a basically realization of the self. It's not a ritualistic process. मंगल आरती कर रहा है, ये कर रहा है, नहीं. You will realize yourself. All these facts what Krishna is speaking, we will realize those things. This is a process. प्रत्यक्षवागमम धर्मयम सुसुखम कर्तव्यम. प्रत्यक्ष रूप से आप इसको रियलाइज करोगे कि आप आत्मा हो, आपका खुद का सुख है. ये केवल रिचुअलिस्टिक प्रोसेस नहीं है. The intelligence is fixed in its desired goal completely. Pari avastisthati. All distress is destroyed. But because of no desire for enjoying this object, the person accepting necessary object for the senses for his survival has a tranquility. He has a peaceful consciousness. Prasanna cheta. ठीक है. So only thing what we should take, what is necessary. Other things he gives away because he does not want. नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चाभयतः शांतिर अशांतस्य कुतः सुखम. Okay, some Mataji will read now. Who will read Mataji some? Okay, पढ़िए. Yes, Mataji.
Well, आपके 66 completed, na? One was not connected.
From here you can read.
one who is not connected with the Supreme, Krishna consciousness, can have neither transcendental clarity nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. How can there be any happiness without peace?
So first comes peace, then comes happiness. नास्ति बुद्धि अयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चा भावयतः शांति अशांतस्य कुतः सुखम. तो जब तक बुद्धि युक्त नहीं होगी, न चायुक्तस्य भावना, देन भावना मीन्स माइंड में भावना रहता है. भावना कैसे युक्त होगा? युक्त मीन्स एंगेज्ड, बेसिकली एंगेज्ड. And when buddhi is not engaged, then mind will not be engaged, and then mind will not be engaged. Where is the santi? And without santi, where is the sukham? So, okay. Prabhupada says, for one who has not controlled the mind, okay, no, Prabhupada does not give purport here. So here Acharya they say, for one who has not controlled the mind, ayuktasya, there is no intelligence, no pragya, fixed for on the soul. For one who not having such pragya arising from controlled mind, meditation on the supreme bhavana also is not possible. Not performing meditation, abhavayatah, he does not have peace and the cessation of agitation from the sense object. This person without peace does not have bliss from the soul. So many times Prabhupada here see, you will find in a fourth or I think sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the yukta is also mentioned there. Yoga yukta. Yoga yukta means engaged in Krishna consciousness. So here Acharya they say, for one who has not controlled the mind, ayuktasya. So means mind is not engaged somewhere. Then there is no intelligence, no pragya. Surely अभी हमने क्या सीखा थोड़ी देर पहले, सेंसेस कंट्रोल होने चाहिए, है ना. अभी हमने सीखा देन सेंसेस हैज टू बी राग द्वेष विमुक्तस्तु इंद्रिया विषयश्च चरण. सो इंद्रियों को चरण नहीं, चरने नहीं भेजना है, उसको पकड़ के रखना है इंद्रियों को और सही जगह पे एंगेज करना है. देन माइंड में से राग और द्वेष भी निकालना है. अगेन हाउ? बाय ऑफरिंग टू कृष्णा. एंड देन प्रसादम अधिगच्छति, you will get purified mind. And when purified mind happens, so then this verse comes, your intelligence will be fixed because your senses are controlled. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yes, your senses are controlled, your mind is controlled, and then intelligence is fixed up. So this is an important thing here. For one who is not a yogi, ayuktasya, who does not engage his mind in me, his intelligence does not have above mentioned quality of being fixed, nor does he even have contemplation of Atma. Without such contemplation on Atma, there is no destruction of the thirst for material object, शांति. ठीक है, ये अलग अलग तरीकों से, अलग अलग एंगल से बताया जा रहा है. बट बेसिकली व्हाट इज देयर, दैट बुद्धि अयुक्त will be there, buddhi will not be yukta unless your mind is, your bhavana is yukta. Basically you just understand from your perspective also, emotions are more powerful. Yes, when emotions are very very powerful, they can snatch away our mind. Like somebody is feeling angry on somebody, but he has heard from his spiritual master, I should not be angry, but the anger emotion is very strong. So then even after hearing, what will happen? चला जाएगा वो, because emotions are very strong and emotions they arise in mind. So it means the mind has to be offered to Krishna that time, and the bhavana also has to be engaged in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise what will happen? The buddhi will go away, knowledge will go away, finish, and then finish सब कुछ. So that is what Krishna is saying कि ये भावना बहुत important है. तो बुद्धि engage रहना चाहिए, लेकिन उससे पहले भावना कंट्रोल होना चाहिए. भावना है ना, अब हम सबने देखा है, अगर भावना बहुत स्ट्रांग हो गया तो फिर बुद्धि भी चली जाती, खत्म. इसलिए कई लोग बोलते हैं थोड़ा पानी पी लो, गुस्सा आ रहा है, पानी पियो पानी पियो. जब बच्चे ज़्यादा गुस्सा करते हैं उनको पानी पिला देना चाहिए. So sometimes children when they start shouting and crying, so one doctor, so what he used to do, that devotee always used to give water. So I asked him, why you are giving water? So then he says, children when they start crying, तो दे स्टार्ट ब्लर्टिंग आउट सम बैड वर्ड्स ऑल द टाइम, या कुछ तो बहुत उनको इमोशन फीलिंग होता है, तो उनको जब पानी देते हो ना आप, तो ये साइंटिफिक है, तो वो रोना बंद कर देते हैं और पानी पीने लगते हैं। तो धीरे धीरे उनका पानी भी ठंडा है, दिमाग ठंडा हो जाता है पीते पीते पानी। एंड वी हैव सीन प्रैक्टिकली चिल्ड्रन, देन दे स्टार्ट, वो चुप हो जाते हैं बच्चे। जब भी बच्चे को रोना आता है, गुस्सा आता है, उसको पानी पिलाओ, यू गिव वाटर टू चाइल्ड इमीडिएटली, हाँ पानी पियो, हाँ गुस्सा ठंडा हो जाएगा, हाँ बस, हाँ ठंडा हो गया, यस। एंड दिस रियली वर्कड एक्चुअली। सो भावना इज वेरी स्ट्रांग। So sukham. So sukham is there when somebody is approaching Atma, because Atma is the real identity and is a sukh. So or Atma or Paramatma, whatever you say here. So that focus of intelligence on Atma will only remain when the bhavana is peaceful. When bhavana is very much agitated, then it will pull away the intelligence and no sukham. Finish. इंद्रियाणाम हि चरताम यन्मनोनुविद्यते तदस्य हरिति प्रज्ञा वायुर्नावम इवाम्भसि।
Strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, when one of the rowing senses on which your mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence.
You can read this also.
Unless all of the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, then one of them, engaged in sense gratification, can deviate the devotee from the path of transcendental advancement. As mentioned in the life of Maharaj Ambarish, all of the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness. For that is the correct technique for controlling the mind.
As a strong wind sweeps away the boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away the man's intelligence. Again and again, Krishna is repeating and making it more and more clearer. What is that? Yatato api kaunteya purasasya vipaschita indriyani pramatheni haranti prasabam mana. There also he spoke. Are vipaschita, very intelligent man who can discriminate what is sat asat. उसकी इंद्रियां भी उसको पटक के मार देती है। इंद्रियानी प्रमाथानी हरंती प्रसवम मना, उधर बोला है कि इंद्रियां इतनी स्ट्रांग है, उनका सेंस अटैचमेंट, सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट के प्रति अटैचमेंट बहुत ज़्यादा है। इट्स अ वेरी स्ट्रांग अटैचमेंट फॉर सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट दैट दे पुल अवे द माइंड। हरंती प्रसवम मना, उधर बोला है, इधर दोबारा उसको रिपीट कर रहे भगवान। As a strong wind sweeps away the boat on the water, the roaming senses, charan, इंद्रिया चरण, रोमिंग सेंस है मतलब इंडिया, चरने वाली जो इंडिया देखती है, कहाँ पे सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट मिल रहा है, हाँ इधर मिल रहा है, अरे मिल गया सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट। सो इंद्रियाज आर ग्रेजिंग इन दिस वर्ल्ड, सेंसेज आर ग्रेजिंग इन दिस वर्ल्ड। एक्चुअली इट इज सेड सेंसेज आर थीफ। सेंसेज हमारे क्या हैं, चोर हैं। वो क्या चुराते हैं, नॉलेज चुरा लेते हैं। अभी हमने सीखा ना, नास्ति बुद्धि अयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चा भावयतः शांति अशांतस्य कुतो सुखम। इट मीन्स व्हाट वी अंडरस्टूड नाउ कि बुद्धि को भावना भी चुरा सकता है। अभी माइंड का हमने देखा कि भावना, हाउ द भावना कैन टेक अवे द बुद्धि। एंड हियर व्हाट वी आर लर्निंग दैट सेंसेस कैन आल्सो टेक अवे द बुद्धि। So basically Krishna is talking about these two people, senses and mind, sometimes mind, sometimes senses, sometimes mind, sometimes senses. The two are culprit people, and these two are taking away our intelligence. बेचारा इतना भक्ति करके भक्त बना, इतना साल मेहनत करके अपनी बुद्धि को फिक्स किया, लेकिन ये मन और इंद्रियां उसको हमेशा गिराने के लिए लगे रहते हैं, इसलिए इनको चोर बोला गया है। They are thief, they steal away the knowledge of a sthita pragya. So this is spoken in the by Jad Bharat in 14th chapter of 5th canto. There it comes forest of material enjoyment, where it is mentioned the senses are the thief. They steal away the knowledge of a person, and then after stealing, what happens? क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः, सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः, स्मृति भ्रमशात् बुद्धिनाशो, बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति। ही फॉल्स बैक टू मटीरियल लाइफ वंस अगेन। खत्म उसका स्पिरिचुअलिटी खत्म, मटेरियल लाइफ में घुस गया वो। क्यों? बुद्धि नासत प्रणश्यति। ओके, आई हैड सेड टू यू वन थिंग, यू जस्ट आंसर मी। मैं आपको एक चीज़ दिखाता हूँ। थोड़ा मैंने आपको बोला था, मैं दिखाया नहीं मैंने। नाउ टेल मी द आंसर ऑफ दिस। सी दिस, this is a quiz for children. Let us see whether adults are able to answer or not. सभी लोग जग जाओ। हरे कृष्णा। आई थिंक हाफ पीपल गो अवे इन हाफ क्लास, और एंड तक तो पूरे निकल जाते हैं। अनीश दत्तरपू, आर यू देयर? हरे कृष्णा। He's also not there. It's not good at all actually. Only 2-hour class is happening, then devotees are not there. So we have to make a small, very strong rule. Okay, we solve this question now. Now we have heard that, what is that? ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसा संगस्य सुपजायते, संगात् संजायते कामा, कामात् क्रोधो विजायते. So now what would be the answer here? Now loss of intelligence, I said all follow in progression. Okay. So first happens contemplation. Dhyayato Vishyan Pumsa. Contemplation on sense object. And then Sangastya Supajayate. Attachment develops. Sangha Sanjayate Kama. After attachment, lust develops. Kamat Krodho Vijayate. Krodha means after Kama, after lust, Krodha. Krodha Smriti Vibhrama. So then memory is bewildered because of Krodha. So Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha. Sorry. After Krodha happens bewilderment of memory, Sammoha. Krodhat bhavati Sammoha, Sammohat Smriti Vibhrama. Oh, I'm just getting confused. See, Krodha से क्या होता है? Delusion होता है create. Delusion से bewilderment of memory होता है. Okay? And then Smriti Brahmasat Buddhi Naso. Then happens loss of intelligence. And last, Patati. He falls down. So now just बनाओ इसमें how match up the column. Loss of intelligence. Yes, one answer you give. Yes, Prabhu. Ashish Tiwari. Huh?
Yes. Sent away Vibhishan from Lanka.
Okay, correct. Sent away Vibhishan from Lanka. Loss of intelligence. So you have to see the incidents. Okay, Ravan, what he did in beginning, what he did later, कैसे कैसे उसका आगे जा रहा है. Yes, माता जी. Anger.
प्रभु जी पहले तो कंटेम्पलेशन है, राइट? दैट रावण हर्ड अबाउट द ब्यूटी ऑफ सीता फ्रॉम हिज सिस्टर Surpanakha. That's what he said.
Yes,
पहले
yes.
contemplation ना?
Yes. So that is contemplation. Yes, Ravana heard about the beauty of Sita from his sister. Yeah, correct. That is a contemplation. Yes. Next.
Then is bewilderment of memory, right, प्रभु जी?
No, bewilderment of memory is later.
After contemplation, after anger.
After anger. So what is the match for anger?
Ravana said his great warriors who got killed one by one.
Finally, instead of surrendering, they will do.
Yeah. What is the anger का match क्या है?
Read P.
No. How P?
Anger is Prabhuji finally instead of surrendering to
He
Lord
himself went to fight Lord Ram in
Yes.
anger.
No. आंसर बताइए. Understand now. Anger. He sent away Vibhishan from Lanka. He was very angry. Correct? Okay, anger is that one. Okay, next. Bewilderment of memory. Ravana sent his great warriors who got killed one by one. He was not understanding only. वो एक एक करके भेज रहा है सबको. जाओ मरो. This is bewilderment of memory. Not able to understand. Because it comes before loss of intelligence. And loss of intelligence means he himself went to fight Lord Ram. Himself went to fight Lord Ram. So it's a sequence actually. So first he sent away first he heard the Sita beauty. Okay, then he sent a Vibhishan also, तुम निकल जाओ यहाँ से, भागो यहाँ से. And then Vibhishan, because he became angry, and Vibhishan he was giving सदुपदेश, नहीं सुना ही नहीं वो. और फिर बाद में लड़ाई करना चालू किया. लड़ाई में उसने अपने सभी अच्छे अच्छे लोगों को मरवा दिया, सबको खत्म करवा दिया. उसका और भगवान शिव को भी प्रार्थना करता है, मेरे को बचाओ बचाओ. तो दैट इज बिल्डरमेंट ऑफ मेमोरी. एंड देन व्हाट इज द लॉस ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस? ओके, मेमोरी बिल्डेड हो गया तो भगवान से लड़ाई करने भाग गया वो. जैसे कोई फतिंगा आग में कूद जाता है तो मरेगा ही. तो दैट इज लॉस ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस. सो दिस इज गिवन टू चिल्ड्रन एंड आई एम गेटिंग इट सॉल्व फ्रॉम भक्ति शास्त्री. तो बच्चे कैसे सॉल्व करेंगे? ओके, ठीक है. ठीक है.
We are also students, Prabhu.
So I think when your child comes to you and tell, please help us to solve, so then you have to really scratch your head to solve. ठीक है. These are like sequence में जाता है. Okay, so then this is done. So as a strong wind can sweep away the boat on the water, in the similar way, Krishna compares the senses. They are always charan, they are moving, grazing in this world, looking for sense object. ठीक है. And so mind has experience of that sense object, so mind follows that senses. After the senses find, senses को मिल जाता है ना, तो mind बोलते हैं हाँ बहुत मजे वाला चीज है. So then they both go away, and because the mind and senses leave the assistance of intelligence, and intelligence also cannot stay. Intelligence also has to go away. It means सेंसेस, माइंड, इंटेलिजेंस, ये तीनों को अगर जो कंट्रोल करेगा, प्रॉपर जगह पे लगाएगा, तब जाके स्थित प्रज्ञ बन पाएगा, नहीं तो मुश्किल है. ये तीनों को कंट्रोल करना. एंड इवन कृष्णा इन 3rd chapter says लस्ट आल्सो रिजाइड्स इन 3 places: सेंसेस, माइंड एंड इंटेलिजेंस. सेम थिंग ही सेज एक्चुअली. सो देन दिस 3 things आर बेसिकली सटल बॉडी. सटल बॉडी, सेंसेस आल्सो, सेंसेस एक्सटर्नली दिखते हैं, बट वो भी क्या है, सेंसेस सटल बॉडी में ही रहते हैं. उसका पूरा फॉर्मूला सटल बॉडी में है. तो ये सटल बॉडी कंट्रोल करने को भगवान बोल रहे हैं, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. एक्सटर्नली वी हैव टू रेगुलेट योर सेंसेस, बट अगेन द सेंसेस ऑलवेज स्टार्ट लुकिंग फॉर वेयर इज द सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट, वेयर इज द सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट. तस्माद्यस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इंद्रियाणि इंद्रियार्थेभ्यस्तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. Mataji, yes.
Therefore, O mighty arm, one whose senses are restrained from their object, certainly of steady intelligence.
Then he's saying one whose senses are restrained from their object. So Krishna is basically again saying that, okay, पहले उधर बोला तस्माद मत्परा भक्ता means तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परा वसे यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. So Krishna ultimately, Krishna is always saying that, and see, Prabhupada is saying unless you become Krishna conscious, you cannot control your senses fully. And Krishna is saying if somebody has controlled his senses fully, not going here and there, it means he is a Pista Pragya. And in 2.61 also Krishna adds there कि तानी सर्वाणी संयम्य, सारे सेंसेस को संयम कर दिया, मतलब शांत कर दिया है. युक्त आसीत मत्परा, एंड ही बिकम मत्परा डिवोटी. वसे ही यस्य इंद्रियाणि, इंद्रियों कंट्रोल कर रहा है, तो ऐसे को तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. तो दिस वर्ड तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता, तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता इज ऑलवेज कमिंग. सो सेंसेस हैज टू बी कंट्रोल्ड, माइंड हैज टू बी ऑफर्ड टू कृष्णा मत्परा, एंड इंटेलिजेंस इज कंसिडर्ड प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. इट्स अ एस्टैब्लिश्ड स्थिता, प्रज्ञा स्थिता या स्थिता प्रज्ञा. So ultimately the senses has to be restrained from sense object, which is causing senses to go away, and mind also. Prabhupada says one can curb the force of sense gratification only by the means of Krishna consciousness or by engaging all the senses in transcendental loving service. As the enemies are curbed by superior force, the senses can similarly be curbed not by any human endeavor but only by keeping them engaged in service of the Lord. तो आप सेंसेस को अपने मेहनत से नहीं कंट्रोल कर सकते, आपको भक्ति में लगाना ही पड़ेगा. One who has understood this, that only by Krishna consciousness one really is established in intelligence, and that one should practice this art under the guidance of a spiritual master, is called sadhaka or a suitable candidate for liberation. The one who has understood, one who has a faith, one who is practicing, he is a sadhaka. Okay, we'll do this thing and then we'll end. ये वाला करते हुए या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागृति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुने. Yes.
What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective.
Okay. So here the two class of men are spoken. So one is a self-control sage, and another is a introspective and self-control are similar only, and another is a other beings who are not having any interest in controlling mind and senses, like materialist people, or sense enjoyers, whatever. So Prabhupada said two classes of intelligent men. One is intelligent in material activity for sense gratification, and other is introspective and awake to cultivation of self-realization. Activities of introspective sage or the thoughtful man are night for the persons materially absorbed. Yes, and materialistic person remain asleep in such a night due to their ignorance of self-realization. So what happens if you say somebody you get up early in the morning, so they say नहीं वो मेरा सोने का समय है, that is my sleeping time, and then devotees they wake up early in the morning. Why? Because that is not the night time. Now they have to wake up and perform sadhana. So what is night for devotees? They sleep early and they wake up early. So what is night for devotees? That is day for materialist. वो उस समय जगते हैं. And what is the day for materialist? Basically the night वाला, that is the sleeping time of devotees. और opposite भी देखेंगे तो what is the devotees are awake in the daytime. For what? For doing Krishna conscious service. And these people, even though they are awake also in the daytime, but they will remain engaged in sense gratification, basically not in the Krishna consciousness. So therefore it is mentioned here कि they will still be engaged in sense gratification work only. So for them to work for liberation is very difficult. Like we thought of doing some arti at some householder's place. So then we said that okay, we are doing this on Friday. We will do every Friday arti. So then the householder said, every Friday? So then the devotee said, what is the problem? 7 o'clock you have to get ready and then we will do arti. 7 o'clock? 7 बजे भी लोग नहीं उठने को रेडी आज. इतना मुश्किल हो गया है, क्या जीवन जी रहे लोग. So they are basically, for them that is a night time. They have to sleep at 7 morning. That is not day for them. That is night for them. But a self-introspective sage, he understands my night finishes at 3 or 4 o'clock. Then day starts. So he has to wake up by 4 o'clock or 4:30 like that. He has to wake up, get ready. So this is what mentioned here. So these people, they remain busy and throughout whole night they will say सो जाओ नहीं सोना है मुझे जगना है, मोबाइल देखना है, ये बात करना, वो बात करना है, ये सब. So those who are not the introspective people, self-controlled people, they cannot control their life. They have no goal in their life. Only goal is sense enjoyment. So Acharya, they say here down that night represents intelligence here. So those who are materialist people, their intelligence never allowed them to understand liberation, topics of liberation. जैसे नाइट में कुछ दिखता नहीं है, अंधेरा रहता है, you cannot see anything. In a similar way, their intelligence creates a night for them, means they cannot understand the topics of liberation, the topics of spiritual life. वो समझ ही नहीं पाते. उनका इंटेलिजेंस डार्कनेस में ही रहता है हमेशा. लेकिन जो सेल्फ इंट्रोस्पेक्टिव से जो होता है वो समझता है कि अभी ये इंटेलिजेंस भले नाइट में है, बट ही इज सेल्फ इंट्रोस्पेक्टिव एंड अ कंट्रोल से आई हैव टू फाइंड आउट माई सोल इवन इन दिस डार्क स्टेट और इवन इन दिस इल्यूजरी वर्ल्ड where mind and senses are troubling. I have to still find out about the soul. So therefore the sadhaka, he wakes up early in the morning because he has to connect with his soul. He has to connect with the super soul, the topic of liberation, the topic of self-realization. Therefore he, even in the night time also he wakes up. The night of the world or where there is no light is there, but because he has controlled his senses and mind, he still wakes up. So Acharya says like that here, noun, night. Yeah. So there are two kind of intelligence, one fixed on Atma, other fixed on material sense object. The intelligence fixed on Atma is compared by the metaphor to the night of all living entities. The intelligence is like a night, since it does not manifest Atma to them. As if at night all people sleeping in regard to intelligence fixed on Atma do not realize that Atma to be attained by that intelligence fixed in Atma. So they do not realize that in that night they have to attain Atma through इंटेलिजेंस ओनली, बिकॉज इंटेलिजेंस से ही आत्मा मिलेगा ना, बुद्धि से ही तो मिलेगा. तो नाइट में वो आत्मा को खोज नहीं पाते बिकॉज देयर इंटेलिजेंस इज फिक्स्ड ऑन मटेरियल सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट. बट अ पर्सन कंट्रोल हु हैज कंट्रोल हिज सेंसेस, he can find Atma even in that night because he has controlled his senses. Even in that night he can find out Atma. The person controlling the senses, samyami, however, is awake, not asleep that night. He realizes the Atma which is to be attained by that intelligence. Other living entity awake with the intelligence fixed on material sense enjoyment experience that material enjoyment. They are not sleeping at that time. Okay. बट बाकी लोग को नहीं मिल पाता बिकॉज उनका इंटेलिजेंस किसमें फिक्स्ड है, मटेरियल सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट में. तो जब तक कोई अपनी इंद्रियां कंट्रोल नहीं करता है, ही कैन नॉट यूटिलाइज हिज इंटेलिजेंस टू फाइंड आउट आत्मा. बेसिकली इट मीन्स व्हेन यू कंट्रोल योर माइंड एंड सेंसेस यू कैन यूज योर इंटेलिजेंस टू फाइंड आउट आत्मा. द आत्मा इज इंटेलिजेंस इज अ नाइट. if mind and senses are again engaged in sense enjoyment, then that intelligence will not help you to find आत्मा. वही चीज़ को घुमा के बता रहे भगवान यहाँ पे. तो ये आचार्य ने भी एक अलग पर्सपेक्टिव दिया है और प्रभुपाद एक अलग तरीके से बता रहे हैं कि देयर आर टू काइंड ऑफ पीपल, वन लुक फॉर मटेरियल एंजॉयमेंट, वन लुक फॉर स्पिरिचुअल रियलाइजेशन, सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन. एंड दीज पीपल, देयर एक्टिविटीज आर डिफरेंट एक्चुअली. Let us read the last part. The introspective sage remains alert in the night of the materialistic man. The sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual culture, whereas the man in materialistic activity, being asleep to the self-realization, dreams of varieties of sense pleasure, feeling sometimes happy and sometimes distressed in his sleeping condition. The introspective man is always indifferent to the materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with his self-realization activities undisturbed by the material reaction. So yes, this is also another perspective, that he, the Sita Pragya, or who is awake, who is controlling his senses, he is indifferent to material happiness and distress. Indifferent, उसको कोई मतलब नहीं लेना है. लेकिन जो materially intelligent है और who is focusing on material sense enjoyment, he sometimes feels pleasure and sometimes he feels distress because he is trying to enjoy material mind and senses. तो देखो ये भी अंतर है. One is indifferent even though he is getting those things, but he is indifferent, and one is not indifferent. He is sometimes miserable, sometimes happy. Okay, Hare Krishna. So I hope it is understandable because this is Bhagavad Gita. Is a topic is, if you go more depth, then it's a more philosophical. ये थोड़ा ऐसा है ही because ये तत्व है ना. We are understanding तत्व. We are not listening Bhagavatam Katha. Bhagavatam Katha we can give so many examples. I hope everybody is understanding. Any question?
Prabhuji, not related to this sloka actually, but the soul basically. I heard about pradhana. The pradhan from where we get our consciousness in next life. So is it like soul also exists there? Is it copy of our soul, or how it stays in pradhana?
Soul staying in pradhan. So pradhan prakriti mahatattva, this is given in Bhagavatam. Okay, pradhan means equilibrium. All three modes are in equilibrium. Means you cannot identify the modes only in pradhan. And when Lord glances on pradhan, then that is called prakriti. So that glance is including time and jivatma. Both Kal and Jeev are there. That's why Lord says, I impregnate the mother nature. So that impregnation is the chakshu of the Lord. He glances on the Pradhan, then that becomes Prakriti. So that Prakriti is a beginning, means in Prakriti means Pradhan means no agitation. Prakriti means now the Lord has glanced on the Pradhan. And then Jiva and Kal both have entered. Now this Jiva, he wants a body to enjoy in this world. And for to body to be made, the modes which are in equilibrium, they have to become distinguished as a passion mode, mode of passion, mode of goodness, mode of ignorance. So then this Kal, it does that activity. It agitates all the modes and it makes it into three gunas. And then these three gunas and Jiva, because Jiva is in mode of Jiva is thinking of enjoyment. So because of the ego of the Jiva wants to enjoy, then the maximum mode, or you can say the maximum, all the three are there, but because the Jiva wants to enjoy, so then the maximum mode becomes the mode of ignorance in that whole collection. When that mode of ignorance connects with the Mahatattva, because this after this Mahatattva, then mode of ignorance का जो false ego बनता है, false ego in mode of ignorance, when it associates with the Mahatattva, then these things are created, like हमारा body create होता है, like Panch Mahabhut, then mind and intelligence, all these are created that time. It means the Jiva's desire to enjoy, that brings the ego in. Ego they see ego can be in three modes. Ego also in mode of passion, goodness, ignorance. But that time ego in the mode of ignorance is very much, because Jiva wants to enjoy. तो इसलिए पूरा जो प्रकृति का ये हालत बदल देता है. जीवा चेंजेस द होल स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द प्रकृति, and then that ego becomes more in mode of ignorance, and because of that ego in mode of ignorance and Mahatattva reaction, then these things are created. So surely everything is coming from desire of the Jiva, one thing, and arrangement done by the Lord for him to enjoy. So Pradhan, Prakriti and Mahatattva, these are the consecutive transformation in the three modes. Mahatattva is basically mostly mode of goodness, mode of goodness. But because of false ego in mode of ignorance, they are reacting, so therefore these things are coming. The prana, then sense objects, then senses, all these things. Okay, ठीक है, ये क्वेश्चन बाहर का हो गया. अभी का कोई क्वेश्चन है?
Thank you, Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण.
Prabhuji,
हाँ.
yeah, you were telling that Yamunacharya, although he is a king and became that mature devotee, like again, like he got some thoughts and he will spit on that. So those senses are so strong. But as for myself, I am a practicing devotee. Like I work outside world also. That's how to deal these things, because our sadhana, how it will be. Just can you throw something?
So one has to, according to Jiva Goswami and Acharyas also, one has to serve the deities, because when we are dealing in the outside world, we are seeing sense object means what? Sabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. So then these are sense objects. So then we are attached to certain form, we are attached to certain taste. So therefore Indriya Charan. Indriya is already Charan, ye charti hai, they are grazing in the outside world. So our senses, when we go out, they start grazing. जैसे गाय को भेजते हैं ना, तो गाय को छोड़ दो तो क्या करता है, गाय घास खाने भाग जाती है. उसी तरीके से जीवात्मा को बाहर छोड़ दिया संसार में, तो एंजॉयमेंट के लिए भाग जाएगा वो. इट स्टार्ट गोज फॉर चरने के लिए, ग्रेजिंग करने के लिए. So therefore Prabhupada now and again he is mentioning that one has to, even he goes out or he remains inside, he has to engage his senses in Krishna consciousness. He has to be cautious. He has to hear some lecture. He has to hear some, remember the Vanis of Guru and scriptures, and then protect his senses from getting contact with sense object. This is first thing. That is called regulation of senses. And at home, one has to serve the deities, or in temple, one has to serve the deities. Because deity worship is very important for householders, because of this reason only. Because they are going out and they are seeing many sense objects. So the deity is a spiritual sense object. It's a spiritual sense object. So we have to bathe the deity, we have to feed the deity. So then our attachment gets transferred from outside form, outside taste to serving deities. It changes actually. ये होता है. Okay, serving deity means you have to be more, you have to clean yourself, you have to be punctual. So these things happen actually. Especially in temple, it is nicely followed with the rules, regulations. So this serving deity is one thing. And always be cautious. So our intelligence has to always focus on the Vani, Guru Vani. The more Prabhupada says, the perfection of bhakti happens when one is very much sincere in chanting and hearing. So chanting and hearing should be done at one side. At the same time, one should serve the deities so that one remains pure in mind. Because Jiva Goswami says, if you serve the deities, your mind remains pure. Always you think about the deities. Any problem comes, you think about deities, like that. Mind remains pure. And chanting and hearing can keep you in the transcendental platform. Like that. So all of us have to engage. See, this is now here जीवन मुक्ता के लिए बोला जा रहा है ये सब चीजें. भगवान कितना कॉशन दे रहे हैं जीवन मुक्त को कि ये भी हो सकता है, वो भी हो सकता है. इतना सारा जीवन मुक्त मीन्स ही हैज ऑलरेडी लिबरेटेड पर्सन बट लिविंग इन दिस बॉडी, एंड वी आर नॉट लिबरेटेड आल्सो एंड वी आर लिविंग इन दिस बॉडी. सो हाउ मच वी कॉशियस फॉर अस, हमें कितना कॉशियस रहना पड़ेगा. तो देखो जीवन आसान नहीं है. वी हैव टू बी practical in life. So if you are a Yanisha Sarvabhutanam Tasyam Jagriti Samyami, if you are a introspective sage, self-controlled sage, so you have to keep your intelligence always awake. अलार्म बजना चालू, जैसे सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट सामने आता है अलार्म बजना चालू होना चाहिए. टीने रडार में आ गया है सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट, अभी इंद्रिया भागने वाली हैं, उसको पकड़ के रखो, भगवान को याद करो अगेन. तो रडार शुड ऑलवेज बी ऑन. दिस इज कॉल्ड कृष्णा कॉन्शियस पर्सन, ऑलवेज कॉन्शियस. Right now we are struggling. Manasasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karsati. We are struggling with our senses. It is correct because we have not got param drishtva nivartate. हमें मिला नहीं है वो. तो अभी हमारे लिए ये साधना है, करना है. तो therefore actually क्या होता है, साधका को अपने को बचाने के लिए अपने को प्रोटेक्टिव इन्वायरमेंट में ही रखना अच्छा रहता है. इतना सब बवंडर में नहीं रहना चाहिए. प्रोटेक्टिव इन्वायरमेंट में रहेगा तो बचता है, उससे कॉन्शियसनेस बचता है. या दूसरा तरीका है, लंबा टाइम लगेगा, कंटिन्यू प्रोसेस, धीरे धीरे टाइम ज़्यादा जाएगा. तो इसलिए मटीरियल वर्ल्ड अभी बहुत डिफिकल्ट हो चुका है नाउ इट इज़ वेरी मच डिफिकल्ट. देयर इज़ नो क्वेश्चन ऑफ प्रोटेक्शन एक्चुअली. आउटसाइड तो भूल ही जाओ. सो कलयुग इज वेरी डेंजरस है. सो देयरफॉर प्रभुपाद मेनी टाइम सेज हरे नाम एव केवलम. हमेशा नाम जपते रहो, कथा सुनते रहो. मतलब एकदम ऐसा हो गया बेचारे को, सब लोग वेंटिलेशन में ही है. लाइक समबडी इज वेंटिलेटर, उसको हमेशा सांस लगा के उसको रखा ही पड़ता है, नहीं तो मर जाएगा वो. वैसे हमारा प्रोसेस वैसे ही है. आप आपका चैंटिंग वेंटिलेटर है वो, हमेशा लगा के नहीं, कब मर जाओगे, माया कब गोली मार देगी पता नहीं आपको. तो इट्स लाइक दैट ओनली मटेरियल. देयर इज नो आउटसाइड प्रोटेक्शन. एवरीवेयर देयर इज अ फुल, सबकी इंद्रिया चल ही रही है, और हम जब घुस जाते हैं, हमारी गाय जब घुसती है तो बोलती है अरे मेरे को भी जाना है कहीं. so we have to find our own food somewhere else. Krishna conscious. Therefore devotees prepare their own prasad and go out and eat. सब लोग बाहर देखते हैं ये क्या खा रहा है, टिफिन का खाना खा रहा है, हम तो बाहर खा रहे हैं, मजा कर रहे हैं. अरे चलो हम लोग को खाने दो, हम कृष्णा की गाय हैं. वी आर कृष्णा's cows. We know how to eat and what to eat. So become Krishna cow. Always carry your breed bag. Always carrying your hearing aid. सुनते रहो. This is the way we have to protect. Yeah, this is a path. And Krishna helps us. Krishna surely helps us. Because Krishna sees such a difficult situation. Devotee is waking up. Devotee is going for office. इतना मुश्किल से कार्य कर रहा मेरे लिए, तो भगवान क्यों नहीं मदद करेंगे? भगवान करेंगे मदद. ओके,
थैंक यू प्रभु.
हरे कृष्णा. विल एंड हियर. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय.